Yeah, what up? What up? Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What up, Terrence?
Hello, Perp.
Can I be
Can
here?
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, because I didn't see my circle. Okay, now I see my circle going off and stuff. Yeah, of course. Back here with another episode of Horror Never Dies. This is season two, episode eight. This is a very special episode because tonight we're going to be talking about Terrifier 3. This is the hot movie of the weekend, probably of the whole entire month. This thing is going crazy. I'm gonna give a few minutes for people to kind of come on in and whatnot before we get started to talk about that. But how you doing, Terrence?
I'm okay. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm chilling, man. It's a good weekend, Terrifier weekend. You know what I'm saying? Horror is just winning right now, so I couldn't feel any better. So yeah. You caught anything new other than Terrifier?
Let me see. See Terrifier.
Did you watch Mr. Crockett? That was another one that came out this
I did
weekend.
not see that one. The last thing that I saw before Terrifier 3 was Kill 'Em All 2, starring John Claude Van Damme, and that movie was terrible. But I watched it because I'm a fan of John Claude Van Damme, so I know what he's capable of, and that just seemed like a collection of a check and not akin to what he used to do in the 80s and 90s.
Okay. What up, Vanessa? I see you in the chat. She asked me, "Did you hear about the movie Daddy's Head?" Yeah, I watched that. I got a review of that. Um, I'm not really. I wasn't too impressed with it. I felt kind of disappointed just because, like, I guess I had my expectations a little high for that one. People were saying like, "Oh, it's the scariest movie, creepiest movie, and stuff." It was. It just didn't hit the mark for me personally. But if that is what people fuck with, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But to what you were saying, Terrence, yeah, that's still some John Claude Van Damme stuff and whatnot. I fuck with
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
because the first film, Kill 'Em All 1, was also terrible. Um, and when I heard that they were doing a sequel to it, I just thought that was absolutely ridiculous because the first movie was atrocious. But somehow the second one is slightly worse, and there are moments where you can see the stunt double like clear as day,
Mhm.
and there are scenes where you can see Van Damme doing some of the moves and he can still do them, but for some reason they just were like, hey, we're going to
Yeah,
have Bob come in and do the majority of the moves, and we're not even going to try to hide that it's Bob.
yeah,
it
that's
just
funny.
it, it's just the way that the whole thing was shot and done was very sloppy, and it had nothing to do with the low budget. It's just the individuals behind the camera, the ones who came up with the script, is just a bunch of talentless humans that came up with that.
Yeah, I feel you. But as people are coming in and whatnot, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Just to kind of kick things off before we get into the discussion. Like I said, Terrifier 3 has been really killing it and just expanding itself within the mainstream and whatnot. And begin some early box office numbers. It was early, like before the movie came out, it was projected to do 11 million opening weekend. Now it's set to be even higher than that, over projected. I think it's going to be like somewhere between like 18 to 20 million now. That's what they're looking at. I don't know how much this is going to make in its complete run if they just run it for the remainder of October. It's going to be really interesting to see this movie kind of play out because it's outpacing Joker 2 and stuff like that. That's kind of like the big tagline. But for an indie movie of this caliber to be number one is just incredible. It made already like 8.2 million in just one day in that in its opening day on Friday. So yeah, this thing is going to be crazy. And like I said, it's mainly the late shows that get like sold almost sold out. Like I see a bunch of packed shows. I went to go see it twice, so I made sure that both the times I went with a crowd because like every crowd's gonna be different. So that was interesting to kind of experience as well. Um, yeah, was how was your crowd, Terrence, when you went to go see it?
I went to see it earlier today, actually, at around 3 something my time. The movie started at maybe 3:25 p.m. my time,
Hmm.
and it was half full. And that was
Oh
because it
damn.
was the daytime. So I'd imagine the nighttime showings was completely full. So I would say myself and then maybe about 30 humans, give or take, right? Um, and the crowd that I was a part of, they were very reactive to what was going on in terms of the like, oh shit, oh my god, like there was a lot
Yeah,
of
you could tell. You could tell who's new and stuff and whatnot. Vanessa, yeah, you should definitely watch Teacup. Teacup is actually a really interesting like horror series that Peacock just came out with. It's actually really fascinating. I was kind of like, yeah, I need more of that. I need to see what's going to go on with that series. But yeah, back to what you were saying about your showing. That's interesting that in the middle of the day, pretty much it'd be like halfway full. So it's like that kind of tells you that there is a demand for this. So
yeah. Um, one of so the second row, because I always like to go at the top of the theater in the center is where I like to sit. As long as those seats are available, so I can pretty much see everyone there, and I can see kind of reactions from the back, like if they're turning away or if they're putting their hands in the air or over their face for that matter. And I try to focus on the movie, and then every once in a while, I would kind of look at the humans to see what they were being reactive to outside of what I was hearing. But man, perp, this one female in like two rows below me, like she was just like jumping like crazy. I thought she was gonna leave the theater at some point. So like, and then one time she got really loud. She did a few times, but I would say the loudest that she got was the beginning with what happened with that boy.
yeah, we'll
You
talk
know,
about that. Yeah, we'll get into that.
yeah, yeah. So, but when it was over, perp, you had a good amount of them clap, but it was like kind of
Yeah, it
scattered.
sounds like should I be clapping?
Right, and right, exactly. You know what I'm talking about, and then the rest were just kind of, looking at everybody like, and I'm just sitting there smiling, and I just got up and left. But
Yeah, I'm happy though. Like the second time I went, there was like this row of like young ass kids. You could tell like this is their first time probably ever watching a horror movie of this caliber and stuff like that. Seeing this amount of gore, it was fucking fantastic. I love just watching these types of horror movies with a crowd, especially like going back to In a Violent Nature when like everybody saw the yoga scene for the first time and just how that just got such a reaction from everybody that was watching that.
right,
It's
right,
really dope to see that in Terrifier 2. Second, especially the second time, knowing what comes, you know what I'm saying? You just want to kind of glimpse at some people's reactions and stuff like that. It's really dope. But I did want to ask the question though. Um, can Terrifier 3 hit the $100 million mark? I
um,
think it's
I, I think it's possible, but okay. So right now it's sitting at 8.2 million the last time that I checked. So I would say that give it another 2 weeks. And then wherever the money is at, I think that'll give us a better gauge because as it stands right now, the movie is profitable because the budget is 2 million. It only needed to get to
yeah.
6 million to make money, right? So it's already profitable. But I see it. let's say by the time we get to November 1st, assuming that they leave it in the theater for all of October, which I think they should, I think that
Right.
it'll realistically it'll hit maybe 50 million. That's where I see like the cap being, but
Mm.
that could change if I see the numbers significantly higher by the time we get to, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, like 50 million would even be like would be insane. Like for this movie, it'd be crazy. Um,
Right.
but like just the way it's projecting and stuff like that, and just the way um, it seems like people are really enjoying this. They're gonna bring it. It's bringing a lot of new faces, a lot of people. They're gonna be the first Terrifier movie, which is kind of crazy. That you just kind of go into this movie for your first time, you're going to be confused, obviously. But yeah, that's always fascinating to me. Like, and the fact that were there any kids in your showing? Because like I didn't notice any like
No,
no kids in
no.
mine, but I've heard stories where they like this one guy had this huge family come in of like I think the youngest was like 8 years old or something like that, which is fucking ridiculous, bro. Like, let me get Rashad in
Yeah.
here. What up, Rashad?
Man,
Okay.
a million apologies, man.
It's all good. It's all good. I was
Yeah,
just making sure you didn't fall asleep or nothing.
no, yo, that's exactly what the fuck happened. So, I had like an hour, right? So I said, okay, let me take one of them power naps, right, for like an hour or so. Woke up, man, it was 10:09. I said, fuck, I knew I was gonna do that.
Yeah, I was about to do that shit before the stream. I was like, yo, I'm starting getting sleepy because I just like ate. So I was like, I
Yeah.
got the itis a little bit. I was just like, I know if I fall asleep right now, I ain't waking up.
And man, I was scared. I was scared that was gonna happen. I woke up, I said, oh fuck.
Yes.
What's up
Hello,
with you, though, bro?
Rashad.
I'm
Yeah.
asking the question right now is with the box office projections for Terrifier 3, like projections and stuff like that, it's possible that this is going to have like a $20 million opening weekend. Do you see this hitting the $100 million mark by the end of its run?
With the pace is going, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I want to be. I mean, well, because what we originally we said, what, 20 to 30 million, but now like that's gonna make that this weekend. So 100
yeah,
million is not far fetched.
it's already going to make more than Terrifier 2 in it because Terrifier 2 in its a complete run, just being out for that whole October made 15 million, and this made basically that and more. It's going to make that and more in just one weekend, which is crazy. How was your show? Was it packed or
Yeah,
decent amount of people?
you know what? It's kind of funny because yeah, it was a full house, but the crowd was weak though, man. Yeah, the
Yeah,
crowd,
that
the crowd.
sucks.
Excuse me. Yeah, the crowd wasn't in it at all. I mean, a couple of times people chuckled in a couple of oohs and ahs, but I'm like, yo, y'all supposed to be Terrifier fans. Like, let's get into this shit. I'm
But I
like,
was saying a lot of them are probably new to the shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying. That's why you gotta kind of go to these different. I went to I saw it a second time yesterday in another crowd and stuff like that, and they were a lot of they're a little bit more. My first showing was a little bit more reactionary than the second time, but it was still packed. You still
yeah.
had people like it was almost like they were too much in shock to even react to certain things. But like whenever Art was on screen
Hmm.
doing the funny shit, like people were laughing.
I mean,
So
well, that's probably what it was too. Well, I mean, well, there were a lot of fans there because a lot of people had Terrifier shirts on, including myself.
mm,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I was just expecting more of a pop. And there was a cop there too. He would like peek his head in every now and then. And my daughter's like, why's that cop here? I said, well, look, you're probably here just in case some shit goes down. In case there's
yeah.
a art copycat, then he's gonna put him down.
Yeah, that was cool. Like seeing that on TikTok, like people that are actually dressed up as Art and stuff like that, and to watch
Right.
the movie and stuff. So like just the promotion and the marketing, I think really worked for this movie because it kind of sells itself, the violence and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
a lot more story this time around. So let's get right into the first like controversial thing that was surrounding this movie before it even came out is the opening scene.
Right.
Now, I feel like this scene was really well executed because going into it, nobody knew exactly how Damien was going to go about this. Like people knew he was going to, off a kid, but it was the point. Is it going to show it like on some um when evil lurks? Because they really went for that in there.
Yeah.
If you've seen that movie, you know. I'm not gonna spoil it, but they really went for that. That shit was fucking surprising. But the way they did it in this, I feel like even though they didn't directly show it, you saw the emotions of like the kid's sister, the sister's character, whatever, when she's following Art around the house and stuff, and she comes up to the stairs and she sees him go into her brother's room, and all you hear is just hack, 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 like just the axe just going to work. And
Mm.
I love that because it's like you didn't even have to show it, but it still got a reaction out of people. And then just showing the aftermath of that, I thought was kind of genius, and I think that's going to be kind of like a game changer a little bit. That could be me. But Terrence, what did you feel about this opening scene?
So, before I get into what I think, I just wanted to tell you the reaction of the humans in my theater. There, a lot of them were turning away, even though it didn't show anything. There was a lot of the, oh my, oh my, oh my. It's like they didn't even finish the oh my god. It's like they stopped, a word or two. So with that, I'm just at the top, just chilling, smiling like, hey, that's a very effective film technique. I'm like admiring how well done it is, and it didn't bother me at all. I was just like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna show it at some point. But the way that Art comes out of the room, I was just like, that's nice right there. So I was probably the only one in that theater that thought it was nice, and everybody else was, disgusted and creeped out and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
because he did it in a tasteful way. I don't think he like, it's still he still kills the kid, but like they don't show it's off camera. You just hear the
Mhm.
sound effects and shit, and I
And
think
that,
that just the sound effects kind of like
it's,
amplifies that.
and that's why I thought it was brilliant, because I would say 99% of the humans that I've ever met and talked to, they will tell you that they don't like when bad stuff happens to kids, which
Mhm.
includes in movies. But for me, I'm Terrence, so I'm just sitting there like, I understand, but eh. I'm just like, that was a good scene. They're like, you motherfucker. I'm like, calm down, calm down. Art's having a good time. It's all good.
Yeah, even in Halloween Ends, like a kid dies. You know what I'm saying? He kind of deserved this shit, but what I'm saying.
Right.
But that's what it is.
Yeah, that
But
that see that's more of a scene that you mentioned where it was just like, I felt like the theater that I went to, everybody was fine with it, as to where with the art one, it was much more devastating because of the context.
mhm. Yeah, Rashad, what's your thoughts on the opening?
Well, because I was expecting the worst, honestly, my first thoughts was after the scene ended, I was like, that was it. That was you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like they were hyping it up so much, like this is the most like controversial opening to a movie ever, and this had people walking out and throwing up. And when it was over, I mean, like Terrence said, it was like, okay, that was cool, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. But
hmm
okay,
Yeah, I think he did it in like a tasteful way. Like it's still effective. But
yeah,
I was expecting like, I thought he was gonna actually show him getting killed, like type shit. But I was like, all right. But it doesn't stop right there. We'll get into that scene as well later. But yeah,
mm,
the opening scene was fine. You know what I'm saying? I think it sets the tone for the movie, what to expect
yes,
really well. Just kind of seeing Art in the Santa Claus suit, and seeing Chrissy Fox, she was in Little Bites. She's also the mom in this and stuff. It was interesting to see her, and seeing Art get his first kind of kills in that, where the husband ever sleeping. And I probably would have preferred that way to go, because it's like, at least I'm sleeping already. I probably would
right.
have felt that shit, but like it's too late for me to react anyways. And then
Um,
she gets absolutely brutalized and shit, like, and that was great. That was great. What were you gonna say,
it
Terrence?
it looked like to me that he felt a lot of that because of the body was twitching. So that is not a good way to go. I mean, Art was, making those faces like, hey, he went out pretty good. It's like, nah, I think he felt like 3 or 4 of those hits, man. Like, I don't know.
That's because he was like, but that was fucking crazy too. Like the sound effects, I just like I don't know how they get those that sound effect to make it that crunching
Mhm.
kind of bone. You could hear bones and shit. Like yeah, that was fucking crazy. But yeah, the opening scene was fine. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like I said, it set the tone. And how do y'all feel about the Christmas setting and the horror vibes and stuff like that? Do you feel like it was too overdone, not done enough, or just right? Rashad?
Oh no, I loved it. I loved it. Like when the movie was over with, I looked over at my daughter. I said, "Yo, that this is gonna be a staple in my household at Christmas time." Because typically, when I put up my Christmas tree, I always have Gremlins playing in the background. I said, "Not anymore." I said, "Yo, when this shit come out, on home media, I said, yo, this I'm gonna be having this playing when I put the tree up." Like I love because it's a perfect contrast because Christmas is so wholesome and family oriented. It's just like it gives you the warm and fuzzies, and then you have this extreme killer with some of the most vicious kills you've ever seen. So like, what I'm saying, it fits perfectly to me. So yeah, I thought the Christmas theme was perfect.
Okay, Vanessa, but like the second one was Halloween themed. That was the Halloween theme was Terrifier 2. This one they took the Christmas route. I don't know what they're gonna do it for. We could talk about that later. But Terrence, how you feel about the Christmas vibes of this movie and just is this something you're gonna watch around Halloween and Christmas?
Okay, that's great questions. Number one, I don't really have movies that I just put on because it's a certain holiday. It's like if I want to see
Yeah.
something, I just kind of put it on a Tuesday. But in relation to the opening, I thought it was perfect. There's nothing wrong with it because of the way that it's executed. You know what I mean? I thought that having the Christmas vibes and having the little girl being excited, and then the dad was, hey, man, knock that shit off. I'm trying to get some sleep. We open the gift in the morning. Go ahead, get your daughter. Got to get up for work and shit. It's all good. And then she's just really excited. She go to get her brother and all that kind of stuff. Like I like that because that's the kind of stuff that I'm used to seeing from humans. Because for me, I don't like
Yeah.
Christmas at all because Christmas, like humans are
Damn.
fake as hell. Like they'll call you out of nowhere, "Hey, Merry Christmas." I'm like, where the fuck have you been the whole year? Like, so for me,
I feel you. I feel you there. But
so for me to have someone like Art come in there and spice it and bloody it up, I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of opening I'm looking for my Christmas holiday.
yeah, and then they also show in the opening scene to kind of go back to that they pick up where we left off at the insane asylum thing with Vicky and whatnot, and we see what happens with that. He takes while his headless body takes old boy's head just as like a kind of like a little bitty replacement, and then you have Art's head and Vicky feeding on the girl that came in there, and Jericho, Chris Jericho getting bodied. That was that was satisfying. That satisfied the fuck out of me. And it's so funny seeing everybody's reviews. It's like, yo, they all had like the same thing to say about Chris Jericho. It's just like he can't act to save his life or anything like that. But he had a pretty cool kill, you know. But then we find out that Art and Vicky, they go to this like abandoned building and just kind of like just kind of rest up for like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? And then he seems like he already kind of over this bitch. Like he don't want nothing to do with Vicky. She's like really obnoxious. Has a lot of like just immediately makes friends with rats and shit like that. Like she's pretty crazy in this.
Dog,
But
am I the only one that was thinking Dumb and Dumber 2 when they just like he just got in the chair and just sat there? Then like I'm like, hold up, this motherfucker been in the same spot for 5 years and ain't moved. And then when the dude came up in there, he just like woke up. I said, so 5 years. So I thought about Dumb and Dumber 2 when Jim Carrey was just sitting there acting like he was comatose. It's like, wait a minute, you've been sitting there faking it for 20 years? As a joke, yep. Dog, come on.
So
Yeah.
that's actually an interesting comparison because for me, I just took it as I didn't even take it as like Art being annoyed by Vicky as much as it was that he just was gonna sit there and decide when he was gonna start doing a bunch of
Yeah,
mayhem.
yeah, yeah. I know, but I'm just saying, like before he sat down and stuff, he seemed like because she was honking the horn and stuff constantly. He was just like seemed like he
Right,
was kind
right.
of annoyed by that. But I
Yeah,
thought I felt like he was just sitting down because he had to heal and stuff like that because
Mhm.
he wasn't
that
ready to.
that's I thought about the healing thing for like a couple minutes, but I was like, well, he's evil, so I don't know if he really cares about healing. He's like, hey man, my arm is kind of falling off. It'll be fine, but and then where he sat himself, it was almost like he was reflecting on everything that he did. He's like, man, I did
Yeah,
pretty
actually,
good, but once I
Mhm.
wake up from this nap, I'm gonna do 4 times as much damage. That's what's gonna happen.
yeah, because when he woke up, it looked like he got like 10 times, like he just took some steroids or some shit like that. He
Right,
just kind of
right.
like got a little power boost and stuff like that. But that pretty much sets up, what where Art and Vicky has been. But like, let's talk about Sienna and Jonathan because there's some really interesting things they do with both of these characters. I like that after 5 years, this is still affecting them in some type of way. Jonathan being in college, doesn't really still doesn't have a social life, but he's trying to open up to that. He doesn't. Um, we learned from Gabby's character that he's not into like certain type of music anymore and stuff like and whatnot. His roommate is cool, except for his roommate's girlfriend, Mia. I think that's her name. Yeah, Mia. She's like a super fangirl of
Yeah,
just the whole Miles County Clown and stuff. She was super cringy and stuff like that in a good way though. It worked for this
yeah.
movie. Um, and then Sienna, she's really like fucked up psychologically, like she's seeing her dead friends and stuff like that. Pass the rice, pass the rice. That shit's funny. But how do y'all feel about how they handled this and whatnot? You can go with Jonathan or Sienna. I'll start with Terrence.
All right. Real quick, Perp, because I don't want to forget
Mm.
about this before I get on Sienna and Jonathan. Um, I really appreciate the scene where Art was doing the dishes after he slaughtered the family. Like that shit,
Oh yeah.
that shit is awesome because I know so many regular humans that don't do the dishes after they get done, eating and stuff. So like
Yeah.
that was really satisfying because it matches his personality. He was like, you know what? Those are some good cookies. I'm gonna be respectful, do the dishes. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Before I walk out of here, like, yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to
It's
make,
sort of
make
like reminiscent of the second movie where he washed his fit and whatnot and stuff and whatnot,
Mhm.
and any mess he made, he pretty much mopped it up. That shit was funny as
right,
hell.
right.
Yeah, also
Okay, yeah,
funny shit.
but so your question about Sienna and Jonathan, you wanted
Yeah.
me to.
You can
Okay,
go with
so
either one. You can start with either or.
I'm gonna start with Jonathan first because I don't have much to say about him. Like, I actually don't give a shit about Jonathan at all.
Thank you.
Like
Thank
every
you.
every time I see him, it's like, where's Sienna? Oh, there she go. Like, speaking of Sienna, everything that's happening with Sienna, like I found interesting. First, I'm gonna say that it seemed like she got sexier in this movie. Like she got a glow up or
Yeah,
something after fighting Art. I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck? I was like, I
Yeah.
don't
yeah.
know
She
if it's
got
because
she
it's on
got
the big screen or like what the hell's happening
she
here.
kind of
But
caked up now. She kind of caked up now. Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
nah, shit. That
so
that, that
so
woman
you
weight done kicked in.
Hmm.
right, so you have that, but it's also the trauma and all the psychological stuff going on, and that she's able to see things that maybe she needs to see to help her deal with Art. So I like that being put into the story that, maybe that will help her become more powerful, the stuff that she's dealing with to get in a sort of crazy phase to deal with the ultimate form of evil.
Mm, okay.
Okay.
All right. Rashad, how you feel? You can go. You can start with Sienna or Jonathan.
No, well, yeah, I totally agree with Terrence about Jonathan. And matter of fact, my daughter, she made a comment the scene where Jonathan was in his dorm room and he was like spazzing out.
Yeah, that was
And
funny.
wait, and my daughter, she looked at me, she's like, "Dad, this is so cringe. Like, he just needs to stop acting. His acting is real cringe right now. Like, it's just like I'm embarrassed for him." And I said, "Look, he's just doing what the director told him to do." Yeah, Jonathan's character could have did without. I really didn't care to see him. So even when it was revealed that that was his skull, when Art put the glasses on him, I didn't give a shit. If
I
anything,
have
I
a
was.
theory. I
Hmm?
have a theory on that. I don't think Johnson's dead. I think that was deliberate to kind of throw the audience off or think that he's because I think for a person like Jonathan, they would definitely want to show that. I think he got away and he's going to play a bigger part in part four. But I'm getting to that later. But
He
continue.
need to take some acting classes. But now as far as Sienna goes, I know I'm always making comparisons because I've seen so many movies in my life, so I can't help but compare certain things. But to me, Sienna in this movie, as good as she looked and everything, it was almost like Alice in Elm Street, right? From Elm
Mhm.
Street 4 and 5. So in 4, Alice was badass. She was fucking Freddy up, kicking his ass. And then the fifth movie, it's like, what happened to your kung fu skills? Like, you're not the same Alice. You're not the same badass that you were in the previous movie. And that's how I felt
Mhm.
about Sienna in this one. It's like, I get it. She's recovering from the trauma that happened in the second movie, but it's like, dude, by the end of the second movie, she was Wonder Woman. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
She was like full out fucking superhero WWE
But
diva. You know what I
but I
mean?
like I like how they kind of emphasize that even through Jonathan's roommate because Jonathan's roommate is not like a complete dick. He even kind of checks Mia sometimes. It's like, yo, that's something that's the type of trauma, whatever he went through or she went
Mhm.
through, is something you just don't kind of get over, and she's dealing with this constantly, but also popping pills and stuff like that. So
Right.
I feel like it just made sense naturally instead of her just be like, oh, just act like it never happened. That's what Jonathan's trying to do. He's trying to act
Yeah,
like this,
yeah. And I get that, but I don't know. Maybe there could have been more of a balance of, okay, let's spend this much time with her in recovery, and let's take the rest of this and piggyback off of her badassness in the previous movie, because we didn't really
Mhm.
see her in that mode until they put the Jesus thorns on her head, and I was like, okay, are they
Mhm.
trying to do like this symbolism of good versus evil by putting the Jesus thorns on her head? But I'm like, but that
Yeah.
came at the very end. But I wanted to see more of that from her. We
Yeah.
didn't get to see that Wonder Woman version that we got
She does
before.
have a little sassiness in her when like she had to check Mia and stuff like that. I like that. Like where she's like, oh, how do I feel? Like,
Right.
So, I like that she's like a kind of like displaying different types of emotions. Like she doesn't want to really have to deal with this again
Hmm.
because it was so traumatic and she lost a lot of people. She lost her mom,
Right.
and now she's like she's gonna be even more traumatized after this movie and shit because of Gabby being gone or being in hell or what I think where Gabby went since they died, like to kind of reel some of this back. I like the fact that we kind of get to see more of Sienna's family and
Hmm.
whatnot, and even I think Gabby is a good introduction. Her being like this fan of hers, and it's kind of how she looks at Sienna, and then how like people view art. Like when we saw the one fan in the train scene,
Yeah.
whatever, that
Yeah.
was dressed up like him. So it's interesting to see both of their influences on people and whatnot. But Gabby, I think, is a really good character. Where I think she went to the Clown Cafe. I think that's might end up going back
Man,
there.
this shit got stuck in my head. That come on by to the
Yeah,
clown.
that shit.
I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah, it's a crazy jingle, but I think that's where she ended up going. Even though it was stated by not only Damien, David Howard Thornton confirmed this as well. Well, I'll wait till we get into Art, the Clown, and Vicky to kind of talk about the supernatural stuff. But
Mhm.
I like I said, I like Gabby. I like what they're doing with Sienna's character. Yeah, Jonathan is a little rough around the edges, so you could have probably cut a lot of more of his scenes, but I definitely think they're saving him for part 4 with something much bigger, because I don't think you do his kill off screen, even though still think it's kind of effective in the way that it fucked with Sienna when she was getting tortured at the end. So what were you gonna
Mhm.
say? Um,
Uh, so multiple things. Number one, I did think that Gabby was a good character. However, once she read Sienna's diary, I was like, I want her to die. I want Art to kill her because I don't like shit like that. So she, while being a good character, she lost Terrence's favor. I was like, I want to see that axe go through
Invasion.
her head and all kinds of stuff. So
It was,
I was like kind of low key clapping and shit when she fell down into the evil dimension. I was like, good, don't save her, Sienna. Focus on
But
finding
Terrence
Jonathan.
also, but Terrence, if it wasn't for her reading that diary, she wouldn't have got that sword, and they would have been
mm,
all
You know
fucked
what?
up.
I get what happened with the whole sword, but with that, the whole dad being an artist thing was cool, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna create a character that can defeat this dude and stuff. And I was like, as being a huge fan of comic books in general, and just even like I can tell you from the fact that I read from 9 different companies that one thing is the same, which is the idea that somewhere in each one of those universes, you do have a female character that can stand with the guys. And Wonder Woman is a perfect example of anyone that you can mention just because her feats are on the level of those guy characters, like straight
mm.
up. So I felt like that was effective not just for the character, but also individuals that consume fiction as a whole. It's like, you know what? Depending on what you do and how you present it in the narrative, it can be very effective, especially, for the little girl, in the same way that when you have a little boy, when someone is introduced to him, if it's a guy and he's tough and all this stuff, it's like, I want to be like him. So the girl can be like, oh, I want to be like her. And we know that Sienna is badass and we know that she went through a lot. So she has a lot of development as a character. That's why I was like, look, don't need no Jonathan. I'm like, he can get smoked because Arthur pulls out guns and stuff. He can get smoked. Sienna gonna be crying. I'm like, hey, just get your
It's
sword.
okay.
It's gonna be good. They're like, oh, but Jonathan is. I get it. He's in college. He wants to focus on mathematics. I'm like, I don't care, Jonathan. Just go off screen
But
or something.
he does come clutch with the information that, like, what I'm saying, he was before Sienna like went into rehab and stuff. I was like sending her letters and stuff like that, telling, like, giving us like crucial information on how to defeat the demon and stuff, and that kind of gives a better watching it the second time, it gives it a better, more explanation of like what is making art supernatural and stuff. And
Right, I don't disagree with that, but this is how I saw Jonathan in the movie. I
mhm.
go up to him, I'm like, "Hey, Jonathan, man, you won't believe what I saw last night. It was Art the Clown on a fucking bike, and he was staring at me." And then Jonathan would be like, "Hey, Terrence, I got some homework to do. He's dead. We took care of him." I'm like, "You don't understand. I had a vision and stuff. That can't be what it. No, 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 no. You went to therapy. It's all good, Terrence." I'm like, are you acting like we didn't go through a whole traumatic situation with this
Right.
supernatural clown? And then I'm like, okay, how do you explain this, Jonathan? He's like, I gotta focus on my mathematics. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna kill you myself, Jonathan. That's
And
gonna
to
be the
Gohan.
Hey, but did anybody else because I didn't realize that the dad was Jason Patrick, because I saw in the credits I said Jason Patrick's in this movie, and when I looked it up I
Yeah.
said, oh shit, he was the father.
A lot of like
yeah.
big names in here. You had Tom Savini in here and shit
Tom
like that. Was
Savini, yep,
crazy.
yep.
That was
But
crazy. That was
Jason
a big
Patrick,
one.
but he looked totally different though. My daughter said, "Who's Jason Patrick?" I said, "Michael from the Lost Boys." She was like, "Oh, that was Michael." Yeah,
hmm
looked
Yep.
Yeah.
totally
I mean,
different.
yeah, they have some talent in here. Even Chris Jericho's no acting ass. He need to stick to wrestling, but
Hey man,
that's why
he
it
was
was
just being
cool.
Chris Jericho, man. Cut the man some slack.
That,
Now
that
what?
that's exactly why he's trash. I was like, to me, the thing that saved his character was when he got whacked. I was like, that's good. Because if he would have stayed around for another 5 minutes, I'd have been like, so Art, I don't
Yeah.
know how you take out everybody else, but you skip Chris Jericho. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. What? perfect segue into talking about Art and Vicky, because I didn't talk about Vicky as much in my review because I feel like it's better to just talk about spoilers and like
Mm.
what her actual role is in this, and it's a very crucial role, and explain it to pretty much like explain the supernatural shit. The demon that we saw, the little pale face girl, whatever, that was the demon that's like possessing Vicky.
Oh, I was wondering.
And
I was
so
Yeah,
wondering
so
about
she's
that.
also the same one that brought Art back to life.
yeah, that's essentially why Art has got his supernatural powers, because this demon pretty much acts as like kind of like a battery for him. So anytime he gets killed, the demon can bring him back. But now this has also been confirmed now that by David himself, David Howard Thornton, that after this movie Art loses his power, so he's pretty much back to Terrifier one Art. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I didn't pick up on
And
that.
even Damien said like this is kind of like the end, not like the end, but the end of like the supernatural kind of arc for Art and stuff like that. So um that kind of explains Vicky's whole role in this, because I know a lot of people are confused on it, but like after I watched it the second time, it makes more sense. Still, it's
Yeah.
still because there's so much stuff going on in that movie. I can see people being like, not really paying attention to the story and what's going on, but that's pretty much how it works. Same how like somebody's looking after Sienna, somebody was looking after Art. It's if you look into like the biblical shit, like I don't got time to go like break it all down, but like you can kind of put two and two together. It's pretty much a good versus evil, a classic good versus evil type of story when they
Well,
kind
I'm
of
glad.
bring in the
I'm glad you
supernatural
broke
shit.
that. I'm glad you broke that down. Yeah, because I was confused. I said, "What happened to the little girl from the second movie? Did she just get too old to play?" But so now that you broke it down like that, I'm like, okay, because there was even a part two where I'm like, did they just do like a Bane switch here, where you know what I'm saying, where Art's kind of like taking the back seat as the number two, and Vicky's now in charge? I said, wait, what the fuck happened here? What did I miss?
See,
Yeah,
and
nah, but go ahead, Terrence.
no, I was saying like even though I didn't see the little girl, I was like the rules from the second movie still applied based upon what I was seeing. And at the time when I saw the second movie, I was like, okay, this is either a figment of Art's imagination or this is some sort of supernatural entity helping him. So I looked it up and that's what it was. Because I was like, it can only be so many things. But because I didn't see her in the third movie and Vicky was there, I was like, well, there still has to be the supernatural force in play to allow him to survive all the damage and appear supernatural.
Hmm.
So it was just a matter of connecting the dots and stuff. And I was like, that's interesting. And then you know how you said where they put the thorn crown on her head and stuff and the whole, biblical references and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
I feel like with that, it's only surface level stuff. Because when you actually know the details of the biblical stuff, you didn't have that. There wasn't a whole lot of fighting with that specifically. It was just really dying and, saving. But Sienna is a character that actually fought, you know what I mean? And she actually stopped the evil by using a sword that came from Themyscira. You know what I mean? It's like Wonder
Yeah,
Woman herself was like, "Get him, girl," and then you hear that
and, and I say biblical because like her father's name is Michael, like the art,
right.
like the angel art, and like
Mm-hmm.
her brother's name is Jonathan and stuff like that. So you can do whatever you want with that
Oh yeah,
information.
yeah,
But
yeah. No, it's there. I'm just saying that
yeah,
like there's a difference between surface level biblical stuff
hmm,
versus deep dives. However, in the fourth movie, it could go deeper for all I know. I'm just saying as it comes across to me at the moment, it's enough to where it adds substance, but it still does its own thing and has its own identity.
right. And I like the explanation because like, and some like I said, some people are gonna be still confused with it. But I feel like they lay it out pretty simple in this movie. The more you kind of watch it, going off the rules of two and stuff like that. So learning that, now that that demon is gone, Art's just back to his normal self. So I feel like that's when Art's the most dangerous, is when, he's that Terrifier one Art, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because with his supernatural powers, he was just having fun. You know what I'm saying? He's having
Right.
fun. He's still creepy as hell, but like I feel like um that's gonna kind of bring him back to the basics, or just bring him back to that scary Art that people kind of were introduced to him in Terrifier one, which I'm so looking forward to that. You know what I'm saying? And
You, that's
he said,
actually that's actually brilliant, Perk. Holy
mhm,
shit! Like
Yeah.
okay, so that's actually brilliant. The point that you just made, because when you said that, I was thinking about Art and Terrifier one, right? And
yeah,
how with that, it's like I think in all the Terrifiers, he's obviously 100% evil, but it's just in the first one there was a lot more savagery in the sense
Yeah, he
that it
was
was like
mean.
these
He was
yeah,
intense
mean.
kind
Yeah,
of
he was mean in that
reactions
shit.
versus 2 and 3. It was like he was at a carnival kind of stuff,
yeah.
at
Yeah,
least based upon
he's
what.
charming. Now he's still Art, but he's a charming Art. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the bad guy that you love to hate. But that first movie, excuse me, I say it to this day, that first movie was the scariest of the three. You know what I'm saying? Because he was vicious. He was mean in that shit. Like
Hmm.
Oh,
Art
And
wasn't playing. He wasn't playing
wait, do,
around.
do
and
humans do humans hate Art? Because it seems to me that everybody loves him. Like I don't know, like when in terms of like when I see on social media, they're like, "Oh my god, he's so cool," and this and that,
nah,
and
people
even like
people loving people are loving Art. It's just
Yeah.
like they don't like a lot of people say like they like Art, they don't like the movies as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
well, he's practically Freddy. Like if you remember, Freddy in the first two movies didn't play around at all. He wasn't
yeah,
why he didn't become wisecracking Freddy until the third movie. So the Art the Clown that we're getting now is Freddy transitioning into that mainstream
but
popular character that people love.
like a New
but
Nightmare,
but but but
he's gonna come
Freddie
back
but
like New
Freddie
Nightmare
talk
Freddy.
Right, right.
but see the huge difference is that Freddie talks. I've always told
Mm,
humans that when you're dealing with whether it be a person in real life or a fictional character that does not speak, it makes it more terrifying because you don't know their intentions. There's nothing to give it
Hmm.
away. Whether they're being funny or not. There's nothing like somebody just showing up, smiling, making gestures, but you don't know what that means until something happens.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I like David's like whole explanation, like where he wants to go with the fourth one. Like he wants to make him more like kind of I think his don't quote me on this, but he's like it's like a scared animal, that's kind of because he's by himself now, so he's just like, he's got to go back to, you know his like primal instincts and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be really dope to see. Like I wonder if four is going to have a theme. We'll talk about that. Like we'll get into
yeah.
four stuff later,
Well,
but
real quick too, but I remember. Okay, so the scene where you see him at the bus stop, I remember.
mhm.
I looked at my daughter. I said, "Oh, I said, look at him." I said, oh, "I feel bad for him." And my baby looked at me. She said, "Dad, are you freaking kidding me?" I said, "No, I see he's sitting there by himself, looking sad. He didn't accomplish his mission." I said, "Poor Art." I felt bad.
See, and
I
that
felt
that
bad for the
that's
guy.
that's hilarious because when I saw that, it was like, when I mentioned earlier about him doing the dishes, like just seeing him at a bus stop, like literally waiting, like, oh, hey, it came on time. Okay, let me put the
Yeah,
money in. Like he does things
he don't
that
got
are
fast travel.
right, right. It's like he does things that are normal and respectful. It's not like he's teleporting or nothing. He literally got on a whole ass bus and was
Right.
just sitting there. And I was like, you know what? From his body language, he was like, damn, I
He
was
was
really
defeated.
trying to take out
Yeah.
Sienna, but I'm gonna have to get her the next movie. That's kind of his
Yeah.
body language.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about these kills, because this is what people come here to see.
Yeah.
When people say, "Oh man, Terrifier's no plot, all gore," I was just like, bro, y'all want plot in a slasher? Come on, man, it's a slasher. Let's like
Right.
we here for the kills, man. We're here for the kills and the thrills, and you know what I'm saying. So we already talked about the opening scene and just the sack jack, the psych ward, whatever shit. But man, the best kill for me, I don't know how y'all feel about it. I saw Cody Leach's breakdown. His favorite was when the dude, one of the construction dudes' head was like pretty much he unwrapped his fucking head with the
Mhm.
fucking razor and shit. That's a lot of people's favorite. But mine, I like the mall scene. I thought the mall scene was fucking brilliant. Just like him taking over for Santa, and then you have all the kids just swarming him and stuff, and just him giving out gifts, and then one of the fucking gifts ends up being a fucking bomb and shit like that. Finding out
Yo,
the behind the scenes and how they did that, it was fucking dope. Like that was hilarious. That was legit hilarious because it was like, yo, I don't blame the kids. You know what I'm saying? They're it's
no,
just
but
that was good.
no, I was gonna say like you just knew something was gonna happen. I said, wait a minute. I said he's giving toys to the kids. I said, nah, something's gonna go wrong. And when that bomb went off, I looked at my daughter. I said, did he just blow up them damn kids? And she's like, yeah, he did. he just
Well,
blew up some damn kids.
what was your favorite? What was your favorite kill out of all of them in this one?
Oh, well, I tell you what, this movie had the best kills I think in the whole series, man, so far. Like, because one and two have like the signature kills that we all know. Like, you think of the first one, you think about the girl getting sawed in half. You think of the second movie, you think of the bleach and salt scene, and in this one, like
The
all
bedroom
the
scene.
the bedroom scene. So all the kills were so good here. It's kind of hard to pick one, but if I absolutely had to pick one, it had to be the one where he took the fucking where he took the tube and he stuck it down the
Oh,
mother's
the
like
rat
throat,
jump, the
and
rat.
the rat went down there, set the rat on fire, and he went. The rat went.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was my
That
favorite
was
one.
the scene. That's the scene that David like threw up on. Like you got nauseous and stuff because the vomit. He said because the vomit that was coming out because they had to use like this they had to use this like mushroom soup or whatever shit like mixture
Mhm.
whatever and just he couldn't get the smell out of his mouth like out of his nose and shit like that. That shit was that was crazy. But I also like um that's also my favorite scene um is when Art meets Santa.
Yeah,
When Art meets Santa, that
yeah.
shit just took me back to Elf when Buddy meets Santa for the first. He's like, "Oh, I know him. He's coming." You know what I'm saying? And like, and just that whole, and I know the actor that played Art. I forget his name off the top of my head, but like a lot of people know him. He improvised a lot of that, and you can kind of tell and stuff.
You
And
talking
just
about
that,
David?
yeah, David, yeah. And he and just how that went about that kill was really dope. Where he used the liquid nitrogen and whatnot,
Hmm.
and he made his own kind of snowman. I was like, yo, that's what I want, like the Batman's Mister Freeze to have, like that type of
Yeah.
machine, just freezing people's body parts and just like going to town and just that shit was fucking brutal.
Oh,
I thought he was going to use that more
don't,
often, but
perp, don't. I know we not talking about Mr. Freeze, but when I tell you I have tons of knowledge on Mr. Freeze, I can give you a million ways of how they can do Mr. Freeze. But yeah,
yeah, we'll talk about that off camera. But what was your favorite kill, Terrence, of the movie?
um, okay, so with that, I just wanted to say for the humans listening that I think that all the Terrifier movies have great kills in them, and more than four. Like each one has more than four great kills in them.
Hmm.
But in terms of Terrifier 3, um, I guess because I did like them all. So I guess I'll go with the Santa scene in the sense. So because I'm going back and forth on the mall scene, like when he blew up the kids, that shit was fire. But the stuff with Santa, just him coming in and like I said, just the gestures and his body language is always perfect. You know exactly, what he's trying to get at, even
A
when
little
it
bit
is.
of the Grinch when he made that one look when he was sitting up there and reminded me of the Grinch a little bit.
Hmm.
Right. And then they were like, hey man, just their reaction, like, oh, this a weird motherfucker right here. Hey, what's in the bag? And he reached in, kind of looked at him, and he moved fast, and they got scared. He just, that little horn and shit. Like I'm like, I
Hmm.
like that build up and how it looked like he was bonding with Santa, and he was trying to, vibe with the bartender, and then all of a sudden he just spat in his face. And
Yeah.
then it just the reaction, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you disrespectful motherfucker. And then his reaction of like his mouth being open, like he was shocked that they
Yeah.
got upset. Like, so that And then,
Pissing on Santa.
obviously, right, that he pissed on Santa and just the way it went from him like pulling out the gun and shit. And I was just like, this shit is
That's
awesome.
that.
How this is
That's
happening.
one thing about art. He's going to pop your ass like at least one
Mhm.
time in these movies. Like it's if it's not a gun, he got the saw off. Like I love
And
that about his
right.
character.
And I love that because he's gonna use any weapon, right? Because a lot of the classic horror monsters and stuff, they have a signature type weapon or a signature type move. But with art,
Hmm.
it's like he could just be like, nah, I'm just gonna pop you like he said. And then the facial expression that he had when he was looking at Santa, he was like, no, please, please, come on, man, come, hey man, hey, it ain't
We're
even
here to
like
make
that. You
kids
can do Santa
smile.
like
We
right,
make people
right. And then
smile.
right, and then he just did that smile, like that was so perfect how he did that. And then, like you said, it went into the whole liquid nitrogen thing. Like that
Do you want to
whole
build a
layout was
snowman? Yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
He
and
didn't
yeah.
have
then
to.
the
He
whole
didn't. He
I
didn't have
love
to do
that.
Santa like that. He didn't have to do Santa
yeah
like
that
that, though, man.
yeah that when humans when they're in the snow and they do the snow angels, when you do a blood angel, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The
fire right
shower
there.
scene. I think the shower scene was pretty cool. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like a
absolutely,
lot of
yeah,
people, a
yeah.
lot of people are saying like that's the bedroom scene for this movie.
Right.
Um, I
That was
like that
pretty
Mia
crazy.
Mia Mia got what she wished for. I like that scene too, where her and Cole are just talking and and you see his facial
When he was
expressions and
eavesdropping,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that shit was
yeah.
fucking funny as hell too. That was great.
Yeah, she was
I
like, yeah,
And
I just said
love
I
that
would
she
never
got
fuck him.
killed. I love it because her character was annoying as shit. Like when Sienna had to check her, like, yeah, bitch, that shit was bad. Because I've met humans like her, like where they're insensitive and just stupid and shit. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And humans be asking me what's wrong with me, but then I see somebody like Mia, I'm like, y'all don't think she's a fucking problem? So that was actually one of the times when I was there watching the theater where I literally just clapped. I was happy. And mind you, Kurt, everybody looked back at me when I was clapping. They was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this evil nigga?" Like that's how they were looking. But I was just like, I'm like, I don't like her because of the way that she treats people and shit. Like she
being
does
exploitive.
things just for clicks and popularity. She doesn't care about how anyone feels. So I'm like, she has to die. So I'm glad that she got wrecked.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what,
and like
Terrence?
she got tore up really bad, and it's just like, and I like how Art like slightly broke the fourth wall, like by looking at the audience, and then like I love how they
Yeah,
just cut the music, and then you just hear the chainsaw
Right.
rev
And
and stuff
see,
like
like
that.
yeah.
you said, he broke the fourth wall. It was like he was looking at me like, "Hey, Terrence, I got that bitch." I was like, "Hey, you got her, all right, you got her." He was like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wish we had more people like Terrence at my theater because I'm like, how is there so many people here and the crowd is fucking dead? Like that's one thing I miss about back home, man. Like when you watch a movie with a bunch of black people, especially horror movies, there's nothing like it, bro.
They're gonna be reactive. Yep.
When you get a bunch of
"Right."
black people together to see a scary movie, there's nothing like it. My crowd was
Mm.
dead, and I'm like, y'all
Would
not even
you
worthy of the Terrifier shirts y'all wearing.
would you go see it again with a different crowd, like another big crowd,
Hell
to
yeah.
see if it is probably just the crowd that you went with that night?
Yeah,
Word,
I
word.
definitely.
shit. I'm never gonna forget. This was like around the time where real quick, where the first Thor movie was coming out, and there was some black dude towards the front of the screen, and they showed the
Hmm.
trailer for Thor, and like he couldn't remember his name, but it was like he was like, "Oh man, it's the nigga with the hammer," and like everybody just broke out laughing because he was so reactive to that, and like I died laughing. My friends there because we were like, man, I guess he really likes Thor and shit. He just couldn't remember his name, but that shit was priceless. So those kinds of reactions are what complete the movie experience. Like when I tell humans that I don't care what kind of setup you have at home, it doesn't beat the theater experience because of the
Yeah,
environment, the screen, and the crowd. The theaters are special for a reason. And if you have a dead ass crowd, like the shit that I can't stand, Rashad, is when I go to see a comic book movie and with the friends and the characters and shit, and you got this dead ass crowd, characters popping up, they mentioning names, and everybody just quiet.
yeah, Yeah.
I'm like,
Mm.
what the fuck? All right, y'all
And
trash.
dog, and that was my crowd for Terrifier 3. Like there were times you could hear a rat pissing on cotton. It was so quiet.
Or maybe they
That's
were just in shock.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Because like that's how it was. Like with my second viewing, it was just like it seemed like so many people like they were reactionary, but like it seemed like they were too shell shocked to even react to certain things. Like
Probably so, yeah, because my
yeah.
daughter was she said her stomach got sick.
Mm.
Because it's funny, before the movie we was at the mall, we got some bourbon chicken because I was hungry,
Yeah.
but that was probably not the best idea in the world to eat
Yeah, I made sure I waited
watching it.
after or like
Yeah, but it also gave me a good idea too, man. Because I said, okay, when I shoot my review, I said, Renaya, film me, and I'm gonna act like I'm throwing up, right? But people watch the video think I was throwing up for real. That's how good I sold it, But
No,
I
Rashad.
was just pretending.
Now that you mention that shit, like when, mind you, when I clicked on it, had it on my phone, HD high definition. I was like, what the hell is Rashad doing? Like, yeah, that shit looked too
I
realistic.
got
And
I
so I
got
was like,
I got to check it out though because like I wanted to get your raw reactions here and stuff before I went to
Yeah, well,
check out the video.
the whole thought process was, I said, I want to do what I can to help sell the movie, So the big marketing thing is that people are getting sick, they're passing out, they're throwing up. So I said, okay, let me act like I'm throwing up, and I guess I sold it so good, people actually believed it.
yeah, Rashad.
So
I'm here to tell you, man, that I didn't need to see that in HD. I was just like, because it took up my whole screen, and I saw you, and I was, oh, yep, to go my boy Rashad. Wait, what the fuck? Like,
so to um kind of clarify, my favorite kill is the mall scene for sure. It might change, but I just really like how that was calculated. It had the most bodies.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like most kill count just in one single action.
right.
You also had the mall scene too, Terrence, or
Okay, so I was going back and forth on the mall scene and the Santa scene where eventually the
what
girl
about
and everything.
the dude that got his head split open and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
that
and
looked
like
like
they
That
like
fun.
that that was great. So like, all right, I'm just gonna pick one. I'm gonna go with the the art and Santa scene. When he was in the bar and stuff.
okay.
Like I'll settle on that one. And when I say that, I want humans to understand that I pretty much enjoyed all the kills to a similar degree. But I'm gonna settle on that one for now.
Okay. Okay.
Well, also you got to mention too, talking about the guy that split his head in half. Dog, the chick, what was her name again?
Vicky.
Vicky. Yeah, with the shard of glass.
Oh yeah, she using that shit as a play toy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that shit was crazy.
getting herself off. Even Art's like, like naughty, naughty.
Yeah,
Like,
that
Yo,
shit's
come
hey,
like
hey,
on.
hey, what about when she was masturbating with the glass and shit? That was
Yeah,
flames.
that's what I'm talking about. She was
Yeah,
masturbating
yeah,
with the
yeah.
glass, and even Art was like, "Bitch, you crazy."
Yo,
yeah. He's like she's and oh dude, he probably got pretty easy. He just got stabbed in the neck, but that was like with it like all that dunk and stuff and whatnot. That shit was nasty.
Yeah.
But they were tossing them motherfuckers around and shit. Like Art was tossing that motherfucker around like he was a wrestler or some shit. Um, but I really liked how that whole mall scene went. I liked the shower scene. I think that shit was super graphic, like putting a chainsaw to a motherfucker ass and then turn him over and then just like slice him up. Like yo, that shit was crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, Perp, during that scene because it was in crystal clear HD and loud sound. Like I kind of scooted up in my seat because I was like, it was like my mind was trying to process like what that would be like. And even though I've done all this like mental and physical training, like that shit was still hurt like hell, and like I probably would die 30 times over. So yeah.
Yeah, he did him the worst. And like Cole was actually one of the good ones too. Like he was guilty by association. Like
Right,
Man, you
right.
know what? Like that's true, but at the same time, like when she was like, "I'll make it worth your while," I was like, "Damn it, he a chump, man." You know what, man? Just finish him off. Like I was like, "All right."
I don't blame him. No, I don't blame him. At least
Yeah,
like
I
I don't think
know.
he even got to. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. That's one way. Man, just thinking about how it's like he put the chainsaw to his leg and then like the leg
uh,
broke and shit. And just the sound effects, the crunchy.
yeah.
It was
If
excellent. That
I'm
was
not
excellent.
mistaken, like if I remember correctly, it seemed like either he was in mid nut or he was about to nut, and then Art just came through the glass.
Mm-mm.
Like I'm not sure,
Blue
but
balls. Yeah, blue
yeah.
I'm
balls.
So
just
like,
about to say blue balls, man.
yeah,
God damn.
some, but see that's his fault because he forgot he was in a horror movie. He can't be taking that long. You got to hurry up and finish that shit up because you're not gonna
Mm-mm.
last. So that was his fault.
Yeah,
Man.
Damien's whole inspiration for that scene was a little bit of Psycho and Scarface and stuff and whatnot. So that's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah,
What
yeah,
was the
yeah.
chainsaw?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
even think about that.
And like
Yeah.
just the chainsaw is like the most terrifying sound, like because it's so fucking loud and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
him trying to fight it off and stuff, and you got probably glass under you and
Right.
you're missing a part of your hand and that shit is like that's a scary fucking. You're a close corner too, and you can't really do nothing with Art. Like he's out muscling.
Yo, per
Facts.
one of the best reactions though was from another female that was in the theater when he got the chainsaw and it went up the ass and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can hear her. She was like, please, please, no, please. Like it was like she was feeling the pain. Like, and a lot of us kind of chuckled because she was just very loud and adamant. Like she wanted him to live and stuff. So like I
Yeah,
Yo, you
and
know
I
what's
thought that
funny?
was pretty good.
What's funny
the
that yo
the
that that was actually my reaction in the second movie at the bedroom scene. I actually was yelling out loud. I'm like, yo, I'm like, dog. I said, she's at. I'm like, chill. Yo, Art, chill. She had
that's
enough, man. Chill,
it.
nigga.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking about the chick that threw the candy at him?
Yeah.
Yeah, she deserved it. She deserved to
Yeah,
get.
no,
You know
she
what I'm
deserved
saying?
that shit.
I mean,
When
I
Art came and he was like, "Give me some candy," and then she like, "Nah, when you give them out to kids," I
Bro.
was like, "Really?"
listen. I get it. She deserved it, but I'm like, okay, he already scalped her. He already broke the bone out of her damn arm and fucked her up. And then he gonna leave and then come back with some bleach in the gut and a thing of salt.
That was
And I'm like,
crazy.
nigga, that's enough.
That
That
you
he
hey
re,
Rashad,
he
you right. 'Cause
redefined he redefines what it means to be double tapped. Like he redefined that whole phrase.
that is quadruple tapped. Even in Zombie Land, right? They would have to take notes. They'd be like, "Damn, that's a
That's
new
a
crazy ass kill that I've
but
never
you know what?
seen."
But also that was triggering to me because when my mom used to whoop me back in the day, I had one of those mothers where after she whooped you, and you think she's done, right? So you're sitting there crying, hyperventilating, like, and then she leaves. Okay, it's over with. And then she comes back. I ain't satisfied, and then gives
Put
you
water
round
in there with
two.
gas.
That's happened to me,
Man,
and so that was a trigger for me.
hey,
And,
I definitely thought about that too, Rashad, because like my parents, they would do like the belt first, and then they
Yeah,
would go outside and get a fresh
switch.
switch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
One that was well watered, nurtured by the sun,
well,
just to fuck your ass up.
yeah.
but talking about that rat scene is definitely really gross. But like the fact
That
that
was my favorite.
he
Yeah,
hammered that tube in her mouth and shit, and then she threw
Oh,
back up,
that
and
was all
you
shit.
had fucking rats in her mouth, and then he slit her throat, and the rats came out of her
the
fucking
rat came
throat, and
out.
just
Yeah.
I was just like, bro, Sienna's like relatives get done dirty. That's why I was saying, like, yo, Jonathan is still alive. Like, if they're gonna kill him, they definitely show that killing. It'd be brutal as hell, because
I think
you
I
know.
was also the only one in the theater that was like good. You know what I mean? Like I didn't
Right.
mean to like cause I didn't mean for it to be as loud as it was. I thought I said it quietly, but a couple humans looked back at me and I'm like, hey man, stop acting like y'all love Jonathan. Come on now.
So now we're gonna talk about overall favorite scene. Like my favorite scene, like I said, was the just Art just meeting Santa Claus. That whole
Mhm.
interaction was fucking hilarious, and him running over those girls just to get to Santa. Like that's already became like a meme.
Yeah.
That shit's funny as fuck. Like just like it just takes me back to like I said, Buddy the Elf, and just how Will Ferrell gets excited about Santa Claus and stuff like that. And what is your favorite overall scene, Terrence?
Oh, just only one? Like in the whole movie?
Or just whatever was your favorite scene. Good name.
Uh, can I say four of my favorite scenes?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so so one would be Art killing the boy and the family at the beginning, right? That was awesome. One of my favorite scenes. And then another one would be Sienna using the sword against Art. I thought that was effective because it was
Mhm.
well deserved. Like I love when female characters are well written and when they do stuff, it's earned. It's like you right there. It's like I felt like I was stabbing Art with her. I was like, yeah, get his ass, get
Yeah.
him, like right. So and then the mall scene, blowing up the kids, and then finally would be
Y'all love that scene,
uh,
man. Damn, y'all just said fuck them kids.
Yeah.
right.
Fuck them
Hey,
kids.
the way that was acted and executed, I was like, something's gonna happen. I'm not sure exactly what, but it's gonna be satisfying when it does, and it was.
Mm.
And then of course, you probably won't hear too many individuals say that this is one of their favorite scenes, but for me, it is based upon what I mentioned earlier, which is Art taking the bus after fighting Sienna at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. That was creepy. That was creepy. Because imagine just be and old girl reading the Ninth Circle, which that's like the first, thing that
Right, the
Art was
short
ever
story.
in.
Right.
To kind of give
Yeah.
you a clue that like this is probably where four is going. Four and a possible Terrifier 5 and stuff like that. Which
Mm.
is leads me into the last segment or last subject is Terrifier 4 predictions.
Mm.
Um like I said, it's been confirmed that Art has lost his powers after this, so we're gonna get more of a savage, back to zero Art. Sienna is going to be looking for Gabby and probably going to find Jonathan, even though people don't like Jonathan. I still think he's going to play a big role in this. Um, the theme, I have no idea where they can go. Do they go back to Halloween or do they do another, theme or something like that? Maybe New Year's.
Mm.
Um, Rashad, what are some of your thoughts on a Terrifier 4 in the direction and what would you want to see?
Well, I want to see what I kind of wanted to see in this one. As much as I enjoyed this movie, but me and my daughter both agreed, like the way they were setting things up in two, I thought in this third one they were gonna expand more on the lore of Art the Clown and the whole, these mystical powers that he has, But even though you did break some things down to me now, that makes sense. But I wish we can get more of the backstory and Art where he comes from. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So hopefully in four we get that. So because like right now it's still kind of a mystery. So I mean, luckily the movie was entertaining enough. They had the whole Christmas thing, but it's like I want to know more about this world that they were setting up in the second movie, and that's what I want to see in the fourth one.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that because they've been hinting at like them explaining a little bit more, bit by bit, like about Art, and I think they gave a little bit more detail because you remember when the construction dudes was there, they were talking about this guy that used to live in the building that he would kill all these children, put them like bury their bodies and stuff. I don't know if
Mhm.
that could be Art, because he was a
Right.
serial killer before we even met him. So like it'd be interesting to see like why he chose to be a circus clown or like a mime or something like that. Why he doesn't talk? Maybe he doesn't have a tongue, or he probably does have a tongue, but he just
Yeah,
doesn't
because
talk.
that's the thing. We didn't learn anything new about him in this movie,
Hmm.
really.
And,
So
and, and I don't want to know so much to where it's just like it kind of like because you can like reveal too much and it kind of ruins
right,
the
right.
magic of this character. But like you said, yeah, I do agree with that. Like we could kind of flesh that out a little bit more because I feel like there was definitely some scenes cut. Like I'm pretty sure there was a scene of Sienna actually going to the Terrifier and getting the sword, but I don't think that was really necessary to see. So
Yeah,
you
and
could definitely cut that. I know there's going to be a director's cut of this movie, which will be interesting. I don't know how much will be on what was on the chopping block for. I think he said that he could have made another 2.5 hour movie pretty much, but
uh,
cut it
well, yeah,
down.
and I didn't feel the runtime either. Like I know it was 2 hours long, but I was so entertained. Like I didn't feel the runtime at all.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, it'd be interesting. Like what I'm saying, if he does end up getting more his supernatural powers back by the end of it, and they have this final they get ready for this final battle for five because he said it's either going to take one or two. I would
Yeah.
rather like if he has a lot, you might as well just do Terrifier 4 and 5. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And just call it a day.
even how does Sienna? How the hell does she regenerate? I said, what the hell? I said she has a healing factor now. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, like I was saying, like similar to like Art, how the demon was looking at her. I'm assuming that like there was this kind of overarching angel or you know good being looking after her, giving her her abilities, and we're probably going to see that more in 4 and stuff like that. So they are kind of sprinkling them out through each movie and stuff and whatnot. And I wouldn't be shocked if it was ends up being her father, like because he did say in this that like I'm always with you and whatnot.
Mm,
So that's probably the person that's looking after her, protecting her and stuff like that.
okay.
So that's going to be an interesting arc for Sienna because she's losing so many people, and that was the thing about the demon. Like she was trying to get rid of everybody that she loves so she can take over her body and
Right.
whatnot. It would be really cool. I saw some. I don't know. I saw some type of title where like there was like a zombie plot for 4 or something like that. That would be really cool
Mm.
if we can get like some zombie scenes. Now, what would be some kills that you would want to see in a Terrifier 4? I was thinking immediately when I was watching From, because somebody got caught in a bear trap. I was like, yo, he hasn't done a bear trap kill yet. That could be really interesting.
Mm.
You know, what kind of kill would you want to see him do like that you haven't like Terrence?
Um, I guess. Wait, should I do the
Yeah,
prediction
yeah, yeah.
first?
Do the yeah, do your predictions and then just say like what kind of kills you want to see in the future or something like that.
Um. Okay, so Terrifier 4. Uh, I would like there to be a Valentine's Day theme. You know,
Oh,
because
nice.
Art is, powerless, and him going around just killing a bunch of couples in different settings would be awesome, especially when you understand from a writing standpoint that Sienna feels lonely and that individuals keep being taken away from her. And it's that overarching theme of love can triumph over the greatest evil kind of thing. So you
Okay.
couple that with Valentine's Day, and then you can even tie that into Sienna's powers and have her dad get involved, and like him giving his love to her boosts her powers to finish Art off once and for all, quote unquote. But then at the end, the supernatural evil comes back to resurrect him for a final battle.
Damn, I like that's brilliant, man.
I like that. I like
That's
Valentine's Day
dope.
because he could just take out his frustrations on people and stuff like that, and it could be a much bigger body count. What would be interesting?
Yeah, even the poster can have him like Cupid and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah. So what would be an interesting kill or like a weapon you would want to see Art use that he hasn't used yet, or you haven't seen any slasher kind of use?
Um, so did we uh did we see him use a blowtorch? Trying to
Ooh.
think.
Yeah, he let
Yeah,
people on fire in the clown cafe and
in the
stuff like
Clown
that.
Right,
Cafe
right, right.
scene.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Okay,
Well,
so
as a
yeah, it's
flamethrower,
just
not blowtorch, but same. You're burning people.
right, right. It's just because I'm thinking with blowtorch is a lot smaller and more intimate, and you can really like fuck up somebody's eyes with that and like slowly
Mm,
torture them and build up to like a greater weapon. Because if you notice, like Art, he has this thing where he likes to make them suffer a lot of times, unless he just outright shoots them in the head. So
yeah.
that's a great kind of setup weapon, in the same way that you would have something like any sort of trap that you can set, whether it's a bear trap or not, or he creates like a false floor and they fall onto like a bed of nails or something.
Oh, that would be
mhm,
crazy. That would be
yeah.
crazy. It'd just be a bunch of sharp objects and stuff like that, and just hypodermic needles and shit like that. Like, oh man, yeah, like on some saw shit. That'd be crazy.
Mm,
Right, right. Yeah.
Fucking,
damn,
I thought about it. Right, I want to see what this motherfucker would do with a butter knife.
a
How
butter
creative
knife.
would he get with a butter knife? Like, I want to see that shit. That'd be crazy. That'd probably be the most brutal kill ever. Like,
Well, shit, you know what I was always afraid of when I was a kid. My mom used to use those hot combs. You know those hot combs you used to put on the
Ooh,
stove, and they would
Yeah,
get real hot.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Imagine Art using a hot comb on somebody.
Ooh, when you scalping somebody.
He's scalping, yeah, because that sound that it makes when my mom would take it off the stove and she would comb her hair with it, it just made the most like unsettling sound in the world.
Mm.
So
It,
yeah, I think that would be dope.
um, but yeah, I mean that's cool that and thank you, Rashad and Perp. You guys felt that that idea that I had was brilliant. Like I just kind of thought of that off the top of my head, just that a full circle thing, and I
Yeah,
would really
Valentine's
like
Day,
to
hell
see that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Like Valentine's Day would be cool. 4th of July, like him using fireworks could be interesting.
Right?
Like
Or,
turning somebody into a firecracker and just like blowing them the fuck up or some
right.
shit. Like,
Or even Thanksgiving. That was my second one. But I like Valentine's Day was first, and then Thanksgiving was another one.
mhm.
Wholesome family get together.
hmm
Let's say our grace and say what we're thankful
I
for,
ca-
and art fucking that up.
I kind of want to see him in a summer camp or some shit like that on some on some chasing shit. But
like Camp Easter
Right.
egg.
it's interesting. Like because Damien said like yeah after like 4 or 5 or how long it takes him to wrap up seeing an art story, like he's gonna let it sit and then like kind of go to the drawing board. He might do some crossovers or something like that, or
Mm.
maybe start a whole nother kind of thing with art or something like that. So that would be cool. Like um, I don't know if y'all saw the Screamboat movie. Maybe they'll probably like with all the Cineverse things that got going and stuff like that. They'll probably do like a huge crossover event for with all their characters and stuff like that with Big Ass
Yeah,
Rat,
Oh,
something
I
why
like
got I
not?
got I got a kill I want to see. I got another one.
Mm.
Okay, so I want to see Art take on a martial artist, and like Art just do some crazy ass shit to the martial artist. Like it think of all the martial arts weapons that exist. I want to see Art use a sai and some
that.
nunchucks
Katana.
and a katana. Like I want to see him do that kind of shit. Cause imagine, a tough character, now Art is human and he can be hurt and shit, and he just gets sidekick right in his face. And then the guy's like, "Yeah, get your ass up and shit. Yeah, you weren't ready for me." And then Art just looks up, smiling, and just out of nowhere, he just pulls out a fucking sai or something and
Hit
stabs
him
him
with
in
a
the chest. Like,
shower gun and shit. Like,
right, or he throws a shuriken at his forehead or something like that. To me, that I want to.
A fucking ninja star.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
cool. That'd be cool. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for tonight. For this episode. Final thoughts, Rashad.
Final thoughts. Yeah, this movie lived up to everything I wanted it to be. Like I said, just the critic in me, I'm like, well, like I said, I wish we could have got more of the lore and more about Art himself. But I mean, for what a slasher movie's supposed to be, I got my money's worth. I was entertained, and like I said, the best kills in the series. So, yeah, man. I can't say if this is the best one or not. I have to go back and watch the other two again to
Hmm.
make that determination. But I think this is
Yeah,
probably
it's
the
still
most.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's still early.
but I think as far as entertainment wise, I think this is probably the most entertaining one because
Hmm.
it felt like it was more. It had a more consistent pace than the second movie. Where at times in the second movie, as much as I love that, some scenes would drag on a little too long. Hence
Right.
the 2.5 hour runtime. And I know people criticize me. They say that's why you shouldn't direct it and edit. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're directing, you have the vision in your head, but then when you edit it, you have to make
Yeah.
the hard decision of cutting some things out or shortening some things. And
Yeah.
he
So
wasn't willing to do that.
I could see like with the second one it'd be that third act because that does kind of go on for a long time
Right,
because
right.
everything else is fine. Like everything else is paced, I think, fine and stuff like that. It's just when
Yeah.
you get to that third act that's where it kind of drags.
It is a little long in the tooth. So I think this one was more consistent with his pacing. Probably not as strong a
Mm.
script as the second movie, but I dug it, man. So yeah, bottom line, I thought it was dope. Can't wait to see it
Yeah,
again.
it's definitely gonna take time. I say give it a year. Let's see what it feels like
Right.
a year from now because that's like kind of the same thing. Like even though Terrifier 2 is like 2 years old. It feels like it came out like 10 years ago or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think that like it lends itself for the way it's shot and whatnot. It just had such a huge impact on people.
But
It's
oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say, but I'm gonna stick with my guns. I still think the first one is the scariest because I saw that when I saw that first one for the first time, I'm like,
Yeah,
this nigga is fucking brutally savage and he's mean and
yeah. The
like,
first the first one's overly hated. Honestly, I feel like the first one's
is
overly
it?
hated. Yeah, because a lot of people don't like that one. A lot of
Oh
people hate
wow,
the first one. I was just like, yo, because it's like, oh, it has no story. I was like, who cares, bro? The story is like, oh, two girls walk into a restaurant and meet a clown, like,
Me the
and
clown.
then
Yeah, it's the simplicity of it that was like really made it stay. Like it took it. It was a callback to the '80s slasher movie. You know what I'm saying? And there were moments of real tension, like when the girl was hiding in the locker, and Art
yeah,
was like walk. You see Art walking, he's looking around, and you're praying to God he doesn't like she doesn't make a sound or anything, or else he's gonna fuck her
yeah.
up. Like that, there were
hmm
moments of sheer
It
terror
would
in that movie.
For me. It was when he pulled out the gun because I was like, I've never seen nobody do that,
Yeah,
bro. That it was
yeah.
that right there. The hacksaw scene alone, like by itself,
hmm
cool. But it was just really him pulling out that gun because like that could have went down like your generic slasher route, and we wouldn't even be here talking about a Terrifier 3 probably. Like
Right,
things
right.
had to happen in that movie for Terrifier 2 to happen and 3 to
hmm
happen. So it's like
Facts,
that's
facts.
why I appreciate that movie so
Put some respect. Yeah, people saying that shit, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, man.
But yeah, Terrence, final thoughts.
My final thoughts. Now, before I get to that, I wanted to mention the poll and stuff that I sent both of you guys.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
That
go ahead.
way,
Yeah, what's the result?
okay. So, the last time I looked at it is sitting at 295 votes, and
Nice.
so we got the three options are Terrifier 1, 2, and 3, and it's like which one is your favorite? And we got 17% for Terrifier 1, 25% for Terrifier 2, and then a whopping 58% for Terrifier 3.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
humans are really loving that third movie more than the other two.
Yeah, I think that third movie is a little bit more accessible than the second
Yeah.
one. Um, but yeah, go ahead with your
Okay,
final thoughts.
but yeah, my final thoughts are for me, I always come at it differently, and you guys know this because you talk to me enough about horror stuff. But stuff doesn't scare me, so when I go into horror movies, it's all about the characters. Do I like them? Do I like the story? If there are a lot of kills, do I like the kills? So, what I look for in this franchise is really just art. I like Sienna, but I watch it for Art the Clown. Like Sienna is
Hmm
like a great addition and she's a great girl, but I watch it for Art to see what he's going to do. And I think that David, his acting and his mannerisms are just entertaining to watch. Like if he were on screen by himself for 2 hours, I would enjoy that just because I like him. So my
Yeah,
final thoughts are whether you continue with Terrifier or you remove Art and put him in a different universe or environment, I feel like as long as you have him, you have something that you can play with. As to where with
okay.
even with Sienna, Jonathan, or any of the other characters that humans may like, they have a beginning and an end. Like they have an arc and it's going to reach its completion to where it seems like Art could theoretically go on indefinitely in different forms.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. If they want to close out Sienna story and Art story like in 4 or 5, and then just start a new thing, whatever, with Art doing more supernatural stuff down the line, that's cool. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that popped up in the chat, watching live, catching the replay. Make sure you come back next week because the next episode is going to be pretty interesting, pretty creative. We're gonna make a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? So, or at least like improv a little bit. It could either be really cool or it's just gonna fail. Either way, it should be a fun time. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you hit that
Um,
subscribe button if you're new. Share this out. Follow everybody on here on the panel.
uh, So yeah, Perp. I just wanted to say that this was a very good stream, and I
Appreciate it.
appreciate you, talking to you guys, Perp, Rashad. But
Sir.
my really strong question that I have that I was thinking about this entire time is, can we do a 10-hour stream?
No, I knew he was gonna say that.
Man,
Absolutely not.
shit.
But that being said, we're gonna get out of here. I will see y'all next week.
Peace.